Welcome to part 2 in this video series about my experience aboard the Galeon Andalucia. First of all, a little bit about myself. Age 17, I joined the Merchant Navy as a deck officer cadet. As part of that, I sailed across the world, including a circumnavigation of the globe, across the Pacific, across the Atlantic, Red Sea, and then back to sunny Hull. And also, I worked on car carriers a bit, going from the Tyne across to the Baltic. Once a week we would do this, up to Gdansk and Hanko, and sometimes Emden, Svelvik. Also South China Sea on cable ships, helping install and repair fibre optic cables around that area of the world. I realised that I didn't want to do that for a job, however, and so for the last few years I've basically stuck to doing boats for enjoyment, which I recommend. 3 of them over there, in the direction of St Mary's, there's your shot. So after we got rid of the pilots and we saw these dolphins, we then basically set off on a course towards the southeast. I'm not sure exactly what motivated this choice, but I think we were just going into the wind in order to be able to get our sails back on the way back to the Tyne. Here we were basically going power driven all the way into the wind. This is the captain's cabin at the back. It was more, this is like the tourist area where they go. I don't think the captain of this vessel was actually staying in these quarters. I think this is more what they opened up to the public when in port. You can see the chairs are lashed to be secure during passage. Looking astern of what would have been the captain's window. A pretty substantial wake there from the twin screw engines. A lot of the plaques here that other vessels and other locations have given to the ship. There's absolutely loads. I think from all around the world, quite a few American ports. There's Maryland giving the crew the keys to the city. This was the big flag, let's call it. That was absolutely the biggest flag that I've ever seen. Here we've got some crew going aloft to do some maintenance. The maintenance seemed genuine, it wasn't like for show or anything. This guy in the bandana seemed to be one of the more comfortable crew members with going aloft as well, as you'll see later. Here, that's the captain in the middle there, telling the ITV presenter what's involved in getting the safety harness on. They used a special kind of knot. I'll put an image on the knot they use. It's really quite clever. Here's someone preparing theirs before going aloft. It seemed to be a minority of the crew who were sort of comfortable or happy going up in the rigging. I'd say maybe like 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them. Beautiful day. We were really lucky with the weather. There was a hatch on the underside of the crow's nest, which is where we went through. I don't think I would have managed to get through with my shoulders, to be honest, but some of the more nimble crew found no problem getting up there. Forward mast and the aft mast. This is the cannon, portside cannon, which we actually ended up firing on the Newcastle quayside, which I'll include in the next video. Looking out there to the Tyne piers, which I believe you can see there. I think there's a dredger there. I think it was stationary when we went past originally, but then started going. There's Cleedon water towers, Suter lighthouse, and the cliffs along sort of the lees of South Shields. I quite like when you're out to sea how everything just looks really close together. Kind of puts things in perspective a little bit, I think. I used to like that a lot when I was near Sunderland, just right next to them. I used to like that a lot when I was working at sea. You can see someone there on the yard arm, everyone clipped on. At first it was a little bit alarming to see people so kind of freely going aloft. They would just get up there now with clips. you got used to it. There's the stripy bandana guy. He seemed pretty chilled up there all the time, working his way along. I think he was kind of giving people advice and things on how to approach certain tasks while they were up there as well. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but grinders and things were getting used. I think they had like rubber attachments on them rather than like steel brushes or anything like that. Just, you know, to not damage the wood, etc. Here's some folks with the grinders that I mentioned, just cracking on. I think the captain said it's a problem to do maintenance when alongside because they're always open to the public. So when underway, it's a good chance for people to actually do stuff. Here's the ITV presenter doing a little piece to camera with the cameraman with a 360 camera on the stick. Here's what we will call the big flag coming down. See the wake off on the right hand side there because we did a big turn to port. And so taking this big flag down because we were now going to be running with the wind, so it would have been a bit awkward coming towards us. Here's the first bit of sail getting done on the forward mast. You can see that some of the blocks that were getting used were quite stiff, so they needed some manual help in order for the line to get through them. It didn't happen quickly, basically. Here you can see people feeding at the top, feeding the rope in because the wind wasn't super strong. It didn't just fly out. The wind was about 10 knots, 11 knots maybe, and at this point we're heading northwest with the wind. Pretty much most of the crew involved in getting each of the small sails out. Here you can see a pretty relaxed wake as the boat makes its way through the water. See if you can guess what speed we were doing here. Put a comment in the video if you think you know how fast we're going. A little game for you all. That's the first mate going aloft there. I think she was getting the aft mast ready for getting a sail up there because they were kind of lashed, like they hadn't been used for a while or weren't going to be used. Here's the yard arm getting hoisted. It looks like they were stowed in a lower position, so they were hoisted up using those big block and tackles to get in position. Captain was leading a lot of that kind of work, motivating people and getting people working together. He was also talking to people while they were aloft quite a lot. It was quite cool to see that. He was very supportive, I think, of his crew. If they didn't know how to do something, he would go and show them how to do it, which was good to see. We're now going, you can hear it's got a bit quieter, so the engine's gone off now, the fans are still running. He will basically get the rib out. I think this was a combination of having ITV on board and having social media manager for the NE1 account, which made a popular video previously. You can see a few folks there working to really get that boat aloft. You could tell that some of the crew weren't super clear about which line should be getting hoisted on or which line should be giving some out. So the captain was helping to coordinate that quite a bit, and the first mate. Honestly, the rib looks really old. Is that like a 20 or 30 year old rib? I thought they would have maybe something a bit more modern on there. It looks kind of sun and salt stained. There we go. There's Jake in the middle with a 360 camera, giving it to the crew. And yeah, we basically went along here. I won't say how fast we were going, but we were kind of just wending along, I suppose, easily. The lady on the helm said, oh, here's some of the videos that rib got. I think they're pretty good, to be honest. Considering these are off a mobile phone and a 360 cam, and stabilization's really good. So yeah, when you got the forward mast up, I think the boat keeps its heading quite well. And here we have, I think it's the after yard arm getting hoisted up. Some crew up there, 2 of them. There's the rib continuing to follow us. This boat, I think, came out with a Tyne, a little pleasure craft. Getting some pictures, having a nosy, why not? They stayed a safe distance away. Some boats can get a bit close. They were fine. I thought it was quite cool. You could see the silhouette or the shadow of the person on the sail from the other side of it. Here I've come forward to look at the bowsprit and that funny little monkey island, and then look at this view. Standing under these sails is something quite special. Really large, really peaceful, to be honest. Getting pushed along by the wind. Here's some of the crew doing push-ups on the yard arm. I think they're also dancing the YMCA at one stage as well. Obviously very comfortable aloft. There's another, I think, 2-masted beautiful sailing ship there. Is it a schooner or a gaff or something like that? I didn't catch it, but yes, the YMCA. And here we are picking the pilot up. This is the Tyne pilot. So thanks for watching part 2 of the video. That was the C section. Next will be probably my favourite bit, actually, from picking up the Tyne pilot to going all the way up the river and then to Newcastle Quayside. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see the next one, and take care.